if you are trying to not be seen as a provider and you are trying to do those things, but you like, I think men go into relationships and then if they decide that like if they're successful and they decide that the girl that they're with isn't enough for them, they not only will start cheating and expect her to stay, but they'll also stop trying. Like, I think a lot of men stop after the honeymoon stage. They fall off, like, a
I would
lot.
argue women check out of relationships way more than men do.
Yep.
And we actually have statistical proof of that. You can't agree?
I can't agree, no. I think I
Okay,
see
hold on.
way
Here's some numbers for you. Women initiate between 7 to 8 out of 10 divorces. Women check out far more. Sexless marriages occur most of the time because a woman doesn't want to have sex with her husband anymore. And women are far more likely to break up with their boyfriends and or counterparts. So who really is the one that checks out of the relationships?
women check out over a longer period of time. Men check out men almost always will change how they act, how they're affectionate, how that they treat their lady, like I would say right after the honeymoon stage. And then at that point, the woman makes a decision whether she's going to bypass like the struggle phase or if she's going to end the relationship.
And most of them end it.
Over time.
So who really ends the relationships?
I think the women do check out to a certain point, but it's because they're not seeing the standard of man that was presented to them when they got into a relationship.
No, the reality is that women are far harder to please than men are, and they don't get that same emotional stimulation. They don't get the same butterflies. The guy gets a little bit more complacent, gets more comfortable with a relationship. Women need constant emotional stimulation, and she gets bored with him and she leaves. Boredom is one of the worst things that you can have with a woman, and unfortunately that's kind of what marriage entails, which is why I tell guys, this is going to sound terrible, but this is why it's so important to stay attractive and maintain your options, because women only operate correctly when they know they can be replaced. All these things that you just mentioned will completely, monogamy, you say it on paper, sounds great, monogamy, but it makes the man boring. When a woman knows that she could be replaced and her man is of a higher status and of a higher value, that will keep her intrinsically attracted to him for a longer period of time. Now, does that kind of suck to know that women need to know that they're not necessarily comfortable in a relationship to be able to make the relationship more arousing for her? Yeah, but I mean, we know what happens when a guy is nice and monogamous and everything. The relationships end. Women overwhelmingly initiate divorce in the United States.
I think nowadays, regarding relationships and marriage, people think of it as my feelings are involved versus duty. And if you understand it as duty, okay, he may not be as loving or as I want to say the same as it was at the very beginning, but if it's for the family and for kids, I'm gonna stick it out. Versus nowadays, oh, I feel like I'm bored. I feel like it's not as romantic as it used to be. You just leave.
We had a girl on the show 2 days ago. Yeah, said, hey, I left my guy because he was boring.
Yeah,
he was making $100,000 plus a year,
paying all the bills,
taking care of her. And she said, you know what? I just got bored and I don't want to be with him anymore. And she got married young and she kind of wanted to experience things and go through her life. And I think that's probably a grave mistake, but that's fine. It is what it is. But my thing is, monogamy makes a man less attractive.
I mean, I was looking at
that's a biological
fact. Conversation yesterday, I think on Twitter, that they were arguing whether monogamy was a trait amongst species or if polyamory was more of a trait amongst species, because they were arguing that some species, including humans, like they mate for life, and that's how like it's intended in all like aspects of religion and just nature. But then other people are arguing that it's the opposite of that.
Here's the thing. It's biologically proven that monogamy makes a man less attractive. They've done it with monkeys and primates, right? Chimpanzees, who are the closest to us, by the way, where they had a male chimp, right? And female chimps. The female chimps didn't give a fuck about the male chimp. But as soon as you put female chimps with that male chimp, the female chimps came over and wanted to mate with him. This also applies to human beings. If you go into a nightclub, where are all the women concentrated? In the VIP with a small minority of men and a majority of women.
VIP.
So women respond very favorably to men that have options. Men, however, don't respond favorably to women that have a lot of partners. So we're different. A man that got sex with a lot of women is attractive. There's no choice. There's no disputing that whatsoever. So am I saying guys should run around and fuck a bunch of bitches? No, I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that when a woman knows that her man is monogamous and he's faithful and he's never going to cheat on her, it does hurt him from a sexual arousal standpoint. And this conversation right now is a perfect example of what I mean by women say they like one thing, but what they're aroused by is two different things. So you mentioned earlier, well, I think monogamy is good. On paper, that sounds fantastic. But What are women actually aroused by? They're aroused by bad boys that can have sex with other women. That's why nice guys finish last every single time, because bad boys understand this, I guess, dark side of female nature, that for a woman to really respect you, she needs to know that you're picking her amongst all the other women, and you need to constantly remind her that you're a higher value guy. And how is that shown? By other women wanting to have sex with you. It's got to be shown to her in the face sometimes. That's why we always say, what's the word I want to use here? You need to show it naturally versus talking about it.
Yeah. And you don't have to actually do it, but just having the option that it could happen is something that has to be on the table.
If you're out with your girl in public and women notice that all these girls are giving you the eye, well, she's going to become more attracted to you, because now, without you even saying a word, her observing it with her own 2 eyes, other women want you. Now she's like, damn, okay.
And he chose
I can
you.
lose this guy.
Yeah.
Bam. But if you're with a fucking loser, right, that's not attractive, or he's monogamous, he's super faithful to you, and no other woman looks at him, you're gonna be like, you know what, man, fuck it. Why am I with this guy? Women want what other women want.
That's true.
It's true.
When it comes to the mating process, women are not independent thinkers. And I know that sounds horrible to say it like that, but it's the truth. It's a biological imperative. Like, they are not independent thinkers. Like, for example, you're at the nightclub, you meet a guy that's attractive. What's the first thing you're gonna do? You're gonna talk to your girlfriends. What do you guys think? You're gonna go to the bathroom, huddle up and shit. I'll be right back. You talk with your girls, like, oh no, he's cute, girl, blah, 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 right? You're gonna want to get their opinion on it. Me, Fresh, Chris are at the club. I meet a hot chick. I don't give a fuck what Fresh thinks or Chris. If I think she's attractive, I'm leaving with her. I don't need a cosign from my guys, but women need a cosign from their friends. What does that show? Well, women aren't independent thinkers when it comes to the mating process. There's a bunch of biological reasons for that. You guys are weaker. You're more vulnerable. If you get pregnant by the wrong guy, you're pregnant for 9 months with a loser's baby. So you need everyone else to kind of weigh in on it. So I argue being monogamous as a guy makes you less attractive inherently. Women say they want monogamy, but the reality is they want a guy that can cheat on them.
I like what Fresh said.
Yeah, they just don't like the way I
like
put it.
Like, he's fine if it's like having the option to and choosing you. I like monogamy. I'm sorry, I'm not sharing dick. But if there's the option of, oh, all these girls want you, but it's like, I don't want them, I want you, that feels good. But actually cheating, no. Now, if you're making like, for example, $1 million a month, you could cheat. Just don't bring me no STDs.
Oh, see? So there we go. Like, you'll accept it. This is what I'm trying to say. There's rules for certain guys, and they'll break the rules for certain guys. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
I'm thinking
cheating is not that big of a deal.
One.
It doesn't matter.
Maybe
you still
two.
have rules for some guys and not rules for others. So I'm telling guys, you need to be the guy that she's willing to break rules for. That's my argument.
Yep.
You know, and being a monogamous dude, she ain't gonna break no rules for you, nigga. She's gonna make rules for you.
Facts.
Hey, no sex unless you take out the trash.
You can't go out with your homeboys.
Good boy. You know? So you have anything else to respond to that? I don't know. I threw a lot at you there.
I do agree that it, like, to some extent, even in school and stuff, like, you would gravitate towards the guy always that, like, either your enemy wanted, or just a lot of people were gravitating towards, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's attention. But I think as you grow older, like, I don't know. I think personally, I like a fair balance. I like finding someone I feel like is on my level.
March, you don't know.
And when we go out, like, we both have options, but when, like, you choose each other, at the end of the day, like, that makes your relationship so much stronger.
I think a woman, no matter what, is always going to have more options than the male, whether he's got all that money or not. You're a woman, so it doesn't balance out. Like, going at the club, I can go out to the club with fucking Drake, and I'm still going to have more options than Drake, and that's Drake, but it's because I'm a woman. You get what I'm saying?
Sexual
so
options.
yeah, sexual. But that's what I'm saying. So because we're talking about cheating.
That's what. Yeah.
She's talking about sex. We're talking about cheating.
Cool.
So yeah, I think that's different. Now, my question was, what if, like, with the whole monogamy stuff like that, it's not attractive for, I don't know if you guys agree with me. What if the male isn't, like, for example, it's not a high value male. He can't pay your bills and all that. I don't think it should be tolerated that he's an adulterer. At this point, you're just trash. Like, there's no point for me to take you serious if you want to flirt with all these people or slide in people's DMs. I'm not. No. What do you mean that if you're not doing more to have that ability?
Are you asking me, or are you asking the girls on the panel?
I'm asking all y'all. I really want to fucking know.
Okay.
Like, if the only thing you can offer girls to gain attraction is, oh, I can put you on live or something like that, but you can't pay nobody's bills, you can't take care of a car note, you can't you know, pick up the slack to be that type of male where it's like that's acceptable. You can do that, like
Okay.
to have that respect, right?
Anybody else want to weigh in? So you agree with her?
I agree
Okay.
with her,
Anybody
yeah.
else want to weigh in on that? No. I always tell girls, men are only as faithful as their options. Whether they're watching Pornhub and looking at it and jacking off to another girl, you can basically count that as him wanting to have sex with another woman. You know, or him actually going out there and fucking girls. The only difference typically between those two guys is one has the capability of getting the girl, the other one doesn't. So if your dude is watching porn, trust me, in his mind, he's fantasizing about fucking another bitch. So my thing is, since we know men are only as faithful to their options, pick the guy that you want to accept cheating from. Bam. That's how you handle the problem. So when it does inevitably happen at some point or some shit, you're able to get out of your feelings, understand, you know what, I'm with a winner, and it kind of comes with the territory.
I think when your expectations are kind of high for guys to be monogamous and they let you down, you wonder why. It's like, niggas need to bust nuts, man.
Yeah.
Give me the 1,000. Like, he might love you with all his heart, but like, niggas gonna do what they do.
And contrary to what, you know, Instagram or Twitter or Snapchat tells women, you're not that fucking special, ladies. You really aren't. When it comes to sex and having sex with other women, men, the best pussy is new pussy. It's not your girl or a chick that you've hooked up with before. Men are always going to want new bodies. So your job as the woman is you can either A, cry about it and say, I'm leaving you, you're not monogamous to me, and then whatever. Or B, put your ego to the side, understand that you're the main chick, he cares about you, and just accept the fact that men are only going to be faithful as their options.
There's one option for you, though. If he's a man of God like myself, he will have a choice to make you the only one.
Fresh is lying. Ladies, just assume if he's higher value or he's attractive, other women are going to want to have sex with him.
But that was my question.
He may enact on it, and that's why I told you. Find the guy that is worthy of accepting it from. So pick a winner. So that if he does cheat on like those two men that you talked about, there you go. Find that guy where if he fucks another girl, you're like, all right.
So, you know,
I'm gonna stick beside him.
Yeah.
So another reason why I'm kind of like okay with the whole cheating thing is because I'm looking at it long term. Like I'm not only looking at it for my benefit, but also my kids. Like I want them to like be able to go on trips with us, you know, have like play piano, do MMA, like have extra stuff, you know, like for them to be taken care of basically. You know, so I'm not just thinking about me, he's cheating. I'm like think, okay, this guy has to also provide for my kids. Like I want to have a good life and I want my kids to have a good life. Therefore, I can compromise on him stepping out here and there, you know?
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, and that's where it's so important to make sure the guy that you're accepting that from is worthy. You know, if he's a loser, then yeah, he better be fucking monogamous. I agree with y'all. Like I give advice, you know, that helps women and men. You know, obviously the thing that sucks here is that if I give advice to men that benefits them, well, the women are going to lose to a degree. If I give advice to women that benefits them, as men are going to lose to a degree. It's never going to be fair when it comes to dating. Someone has to concede to another. One party has to maintain the leverage. My only argument is that the man needs to maintain the leverage for the relationship to work. If the woman maintains their leverage, well, now she's in a leadership position. When a woman's in a leadership position, what happens? She's going to start to lose attraction to that man because he's showing her through his actions that she is of higher value than himself. And women respond to a man favorably if he's of higher status than herself. Women date up, men date down. So the man always needs to be on top when it comes to leverage and status and everything else associated with that.